Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. So I have my crystal ball off to the side. I will be scoring throughout this message. If you're new to my channel, my readings are a little different. If you're turning, welcome back. You know how we do. If it doesn't resonate with you, if you're forcing the story to fit or arguing with it in any way, just leave it behind for the people who it's meant for. Channel members, you do have a collective message that posted yesterday. It's a pick a card, so if you're interested in that and you haven't checked it out already, definitely check that out. We are using scrolls from I Scribe with Steph, so we're going to begin with these two scrolls, and I'm going to flash read some scrolls as we go through this reading. So I have to use some terms that don't necessarily convey the imagery that I personally align myself with for this reading, just because they're ideas and they're concepts that are readily available, and I have to use language to describe this reading. So in order to do that, I do have to make it as widely accessible as possible, just so that it reaches the collective it's supposed to reach. And so everybody's using different worldviews and different paradigms. So I do have to use a paradigm that is outside of my own paradigm in order to explain this reading. So right here, what I'm looking at is this. This is like an energy channel to me right now, and it feels like it's pulling energy from different layers, different realities down into our reality. Now, it looks like at some point within this pull down, it gets projected out, gets passed to others. So what this is saying to me is that I'm reading for a collective of people who you don't necessarily have to access or go through the process of accessing the Akashic like most people do. It's something that is consistently plugged in. We find this, for example, with people who are extremely strong channels, people who are extremely strong psychics, right? There is an energy that is being brought down and being channeled and passed through to others. Now, what this usually looks like is somebody who uses psychic information in order to help other people. This can happen if you're a Reiki healer. This can happen if you're a professional psychic. It can happen if you're not a professional. But either way, that's who I'm reading for. It's a collective of people. You seem very powerful psychically, and you are aligned to this sort of Akashic field, as people call it, and you're drawing information down in order to hand this information to other people to help them, right? Maybe it's not necessarily giving them the information. You may be using the information, for example, to say, hey, don't drive down that road today, right? Things like that. What seems to be happening in this energy, this is something that's been ongoing and persistent within somebody's life. What seems to be happening, I see a 2-5. This is what's standing out to me right now. That comes out to 7. It's also something about a change. This may have started because of some sort of interpersonal change that took place or conflict that took place within your life. So for example, you may have really immersed yourself inside of your psychism or inside your spirituality after like a particularly bad breakup or the passing of a loved one, for example. What seems to be happening in the present energy here is there is some sort of transformation. There's a lot of confusion, and still there's a lot of like little loops where maybe we don't necessarily understand everything that we experience, or we don't necessarily understand when we're supposed to do this or how we're supposed to do this. And right now there's a transformation regarding those issues where somebody is starting to understand that, I don't necessarily have to understand the shoulds and the whys. I just know what I'm presented with, and I need to know what I feel like doing with it, right? I need to know how I want to go about doing it. And so that's what seems to be happening for somebody here. They're taking the responsibility for this ability and this gift away from, I need somebody to direct me with it, and they're taking it more inside themselves, and they're learning how to empower themselves with it. So I think that's beautiful energy. There also does seem to be some sort of uptick in this energy that's currently happening. It feels a little bit like somebody is experiencing this more and more, quite possibly in the form of, for example, one of the things that's coming to me in the form of deja vu, except not normal deja vu that's predictive. So for example, being just first thing that came to mind, just bear with me, you're air frying tofu. You're vegan, you're air frying tofu, and or you're not vegan, you're air frying tofu. Shit, I do it all the time. And you're looking at it, and you just call somebody up, and they don't answer the phone, right? They don't answer the phone, but you're looking at this tofu, and you're thinking, I've been here before. And you're like, in my before, I called this person, and they called me back and asked me, what am I doing? And I said, I'm air frying some tofu as I'm staring at it. And so they call back right when you're thinking this. Like, you're like, oh, they're going to call me back. And so they do. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you don't. I don't know. Might have been a totally convoluted way to get to the point. The point is just that it's deja vu, except it's not deja vu like, oh, I've experienced this and then nothing comes out of it. It's deja vu that has a predictive element to it. And you're able to successfully predict what's about to happen based on the deja vu. I don't know, man. I got tofu on the mind. Let's see. All right. Okay. Now, this is very similar to a card that came, or a scroll that came out yesterday, and this was of the reflective nature, when we start seeing the reflection. So again, this kind of seems like that sort of deja vu element. It may not necessarily be deja vu, it may be dreams, dreams that someone's having, and they end up being very prophetic dreams. But if you look at this, this is where this person's connected at all times, and they're pointing and trying to help this person. For some of you, you may be trying to help somebody who is also connected. And so sometimes when we experience that, there's a little bit of a conflict between the viewpoints of the two people. And the reason why is because this person is filtering through their lens, this person is filtering through theirs. So even though it's the same information, it's getting filtered through our own experiential lenses, right? That's just how we work as people. And so there is a point at which, for those of you who are experiencing that, there is a point of which there is a meeting of minds, but it requires a little bit of patience to find that ground. So that's just a small side story for somebody. Okay. Now, in this energy, it does feel like there's a lot that we're currently seeing. So whoever you are, you see a lot. You see a lot, you experience a lot. There's a lot of pattern recognition that are taking place here. There's also this sort of, I'm seeing these as, first it was eyes, right? And I want to say that these eyes, they're seeing the future, but they're also seeing the past. So whoever I'm reading for, it's like being able to look at a situation, and maybe this is, people around you, maybe it's just a situation that's recently uncovered itself to you, and understanding how it began, understanding how it's unfolding. So someone here, this is your confirmation that this is happening for you at this time. And this little bit about the Akashic is for those of you who maybe don't understand that that's what's taking place. This is not an energy that is recent. This is an energy that has been persistent within your life. However, there may be a little bit of an uptick at this time. I am noticing these two here, they look like some sort of ancient alphabet to me. Some sort of ancient letters. And so there's something about the language of the soul that's coming through. There is a certain formula or a certain pattern or a certain structure to this energy that somebody's experiencing. And this may manifest as creating your own system in some regard, your own system for tapping in, tuning in. Even though you don't necessarily need to, it's a way to calm the conscious mind into being able to listen just a little bit more, right? And so somebody here has that. They have like this ancient language of the soul. For some of you, you may even in the liminal spaces hear like a different language, and you know that it's not necessarily a language in use today. Whatever this is, it feels very old. Some of you are aware that there is somebody here who seems to be helping you do this, that there's some sort of guide or some sort of person or being. It feels a little bit like a spirit helper that is helping to connect you so that you can fulfill some sort of purpose that either you have agreed to or something that you remember coming in with, right? I'm not a proponent of having a purpose and then forgetting it once we're here. I don't actually think that that's a healthy way to live our lives. So, but someone here, you remember that this was your purpose, or you have chosen that this is your purpose in this lifetime. Now, what I have here is I see these two goldfish, and these two goldfish, they're like kind of like kissing gourami. They're not just like kissing each other, but they're like merging into each other. What I'm seeing here is and this is reminding me of the Vesica Pisces. So what this is making me think of, the merging of two worlds. Someone here inside this collective has done an immense amount of self-work, and this immense amount of self-work has left them not as emotionally unstable as they had been in the past, right? Normally, us as people, we're on this emotional roller coaster constantly, going with the ups and downs in life and being dragged through the dirt with them. Whoever I'm reading for, you've moved beyond that, right? You've kind of removed yourself from that roller coaster and from the circumstances and allowed yourself to get into a particular type of alignment. And that may be what is causing this for a few of you. I'm not going to say that that's for everyone. I do feel that for some of you that are connected, this is a connection that has been taking place since a very early age, and so you haven't had to do self-work in order for this connection to be established. However, right now this particular thing is speaking to me about people who have done an immense amount of self-work to get into a particular type of alignment that's allowing this free flow of energy. Now, in this free flow of energy, what's being highlighted to me is that merging of worlds. It's almost as though the information layer, the information of, yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to say the information layer. I think everybody understands that. It's starting to merge into our reality. And so this is very interesting. This is an extremely profound energy, because once that happens, this is really where we step into that role of like the divine teacher or the divine helper, right? And it's not that you have to help. That's obviously a choice, but it's that you're equipped to do so. It's almost as though you're being equipped for something. And of course, it's always your choice whether you want to do it or not. Okay, I'm being told to pull some cards here. Now, this collective, you're often misunderstood, and you're often misunderstood. You may have at times really worried about being taken for granted, or being labeled as crazy, things like that. And that's because, you know, normal people, they don't really necessarily understand it when somebody busts out a string of, I know this is going to happen, I know this is going to happen. However, I do think that if this is truly if this truly is your reading, one of the things that you have witnessed throughout your life is that people come to listen. And that's because, you know, proof is in the pudding. You tell them something's going to happen, then it happens. And after so many times of that, they listen. So, there is this energy here of the self having proved the self to others. Not that we have to prove ourselves to others, but this is the energy that's coming through. There's something about the truth and the strength of your connection has proven itself time and time again to people who maybe necessarily don't believe in these things. However, the other thing that's happened here is that we've stepped into this, this is being very set apart. I'm going to be honest. This is a little set apart from the mass. And so what happens in this energy is we either become some sort of teacher, or we become some sort of counselor. Again, you know, professional psychic, very good Reiki healer, for example, might embody this energy. And so because of that, you may experience a lot of negativity around you from people who either are jealous, or people who don't like somebody feeling like they have an authority, right? Not that you feel like you have an authority. It's the people that are maybe over in this camp, certain individuals that feel like, oh, this person's like so, and they don't like that, right? And so they'll do things to try to knock you down a peg. The reason why this seems to be coming out right now, because, you know, I don't normally go into stuff like this, somebody seems to be experiencing some sort of reaction in their 3D to the energy that they're embodying. And so this is just kind of a confirmation that this is a normal part of it, right? This is a normal part of this particular type of path. This is one of the reasons why people that have had this sort of power running through them, or this sort of connection, have been persecuted in the past by religions, or by, you know, different societies. One of the reasons why is because this sort of thing makes people afraid, right? Whoever you are, there are people that are afraid. Again, Glockner, right? These are projections, these are delusions, illusions. There's somebody around you that seems to be afraid right now, and you are experiencing reactions from this person. Again, if you are somebody, for example, if you're on social media, it might just be somebody within your audience. It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that's close to you. I do want to pull this card and tell you something about this. Now, this card, again, it feels like that channel energy. It feels like all this information coming down to this single point, but it's also reflecting this card to me. As I said, this is about two worlds merging, and that's what I always see in this card too. I see these two worlds coming down and merging. Now, another energy that I'm getting from this is that whoever I'm reading for, you've had a really hard time in the past creating a life that you want. You may have had a lot of, for example, childhood trauma that really prevented you from having the self-efficacy, from going out and doing the things that you want to do for yourself. You may still struggle with that, and that's actually what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing that somebody's still struggling with that just a little bit, in little elements of self-care, in little elements of, you know, going and doing things that are outside their comfort zone. Understand that that's an energy that you are still working through, meaning you're not stuck there, right? So that's a little bit of a confirmation for somebody that's coming through, is that you are actually moving through this energy. You're evolving and you're growing through it. There was just a lot to grow through for whoever that's for. And it does look like a lot of wisdom is involved in this journey for you, a lot of internal reflection, and using that internal reflection and making it your reality. So I don't know who this message is for, but this is really good energy. This is a kind of a confirmation that's just coming forward to say, hey, you are doing this thing. There is an uptick in your gifts. There is somebody that you know, this thing that you're experiencing with a person or people around you, this is a normal part of this path. You are merging worlds internally inside of yourself, and that this sort of self-efficacy battle that has been ongoing, it is about to alleviate. It doesn't feel like it's far into the future. It feels like in the next 6 months somebody's making big steps with this. So that's what the sage is kind of saying to me. So I'm going to leave this here. If this resonates for you, please hit the like button, and until next time.